Greetings, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Thank you for joining in. You are on Genvièv TV, your channel for forensic and clinical education. I'm Genvièv. And today we're coming to you live from Educator, Mexico, a beautiful resort where we've been holding a corporate event here. And this brings me to a subject that I have done at length with many of you for the last decades, is helping you achieve and overachieve your goals with brain plasticity and brain rewiring. For the last several decades, I've worked with sales teams and CEOs and corporate executives in managing the way their brain works in order to meet and expand and extend their quotas, their requirements, and excel in their field of duty. So I'll give you a few examples. You know, with quantum physics, we know that what we expect, we experience. It's the science of learning how to work with your brain to obtain better results. And one of the fields that it's extraordinarily successful in is with sales, because as you know, as you might know, sales is a very demanding sector where you constantly have to face rejection, and it can become very difficult. So learning how to take every no as a closer pathway to the next yes helps you continue, expand your motivation, and perform better in everything that we do. Sometimes I'm asked, who is your audience? And well, I work with the brain. So who is my audience? Literally everyone with a brain, right? The smarter you are, the better these techniques work on you. There's a vast misconception out there believing that you have to be weak to respond well to hypnosis, hypnotherapy, brain plasticity, or brain rewiring. That's fundamentally incorrect. The smarter you are, the more rapidly you will respond and learn how to do what I do yourselves, because I'm a board certified educator, I'm a forensic and clinical hypnotherapist, and I teach everyone who works with me how to do what I do themselves. So several decades ago, I worked with a company owner who was competing in a very highly competitive market, internationally representing a brand. And the brand, within 20 days of a reward, announced that for the next 20 days, all affiliates working in that field would be taken into account for their sales results, and in the 20-day time frame, they would calculate who had accomplished the most sales, and the winners of that, they would take the top 10 and send them, I think it was to the British Virgin Islands. So that company executive came to me and said, I'm in a small market, outside of the big cities. So he was competing with Los Angeles, New York, with all the massive dealers in that field. And he told me, I'm ranking 60 right now. There's absolutely no way that I can make top 10 within 20 days, because it was started at the moment they announced it, and it was already too late to enlist advertisement. As you know, when you work with an advertising campaign, this has to be done months in advance. And so we decided to do hypnosis right away to implement the idea of success and the idea that he would finish top 3 and therefore be granted the trip. Honestly, I'll tell you, I had no expectation this would work so successfully. I've been doing this my entire life. I started hypnotizing people and teaching hypnosis to others and brain plasticity when I was a teenager already. At 15 years old, I was already hypnotizing others. And no matter how many successes I've had working in that field, every single one seems brand new to me. It never ceases to amaze me. And so in this case of that executive, we did a couple of sessions. That was it. Implementing the vision of top 3 for that contest so that he could depart on that award to this fabulous 10-day excursion to the British Virgin Islands. And the day that they announced the results, 20 days later, he was actually number 3 on the list. So that shows us the power of learning how to bend your reality from 60. There was no realistic and logical way that was going to happen. And I remember going with the flow and doing the techniques, not believing it was going to happen myself. So that showed me, and I continue doing that time and again, that showed me and continues showing me that belief is not necessary. The only thing that's necessary is going through the methodology, giving it your best shot, and putting all the tools in your favor, and then it's miracle after miracle after miracle. So I've continued doing that in my practice. I work with a lot of sales persons, sales executives that come to me when they are, when everything goes well. Of course, nobody thinks of going to that extent to boost their motivation. They usually come to me when they've suddenly been drained of their motivation. It's become too hard. They're finding themselves being superseded by others, and their motivations is going down, so they come to me. And what we do is, first of all, we take care of the fear of success, the fear of failure, anything that stands in the way. And then we implement that massive engine inside that is going to carry your motivation and expand it relentlessly. And we can fine-tune it. It's brain rewiring. So we can fine-tune it to really implement whatever's going to help you the best. Every no is getting you more convinced that you're going to be top producer in your company, whatever it is that you want to achieve. And then you learn working with me how to do it yourselves. And to this day, I mean, I have 100% results. I mean, knock on wood. This is stone right here, but knock on wood, with physicians acing their board exams. That's one example. After, of course, again, they come to me after they failed multiple times, several times, due to exam anxiety or fear of failure, fear of success, or stress, or their careers being so demanding. And they come to me usually after having failed their board exam from 3 to 6, 7 times. And then finally they decide, okay, what is it that I can try that I haven't already tried? And so that's when I receive people, is when everything else has failed. And to this day, with all the physicians that came to see me for turning around a failure into a success at their board exams, I have 100% success rate in having them ace their board exams with flying colors, typically after just 1 or 2 sessions. It's very fast. And the same goes for sales reps and sales executives who are falling behind or simply wanting to remain at the very leading edge of their field. The brain controls everything we do. It controls your heart. It controls your very life in your body. It controls your body temperature. It repairs your wounds when you have wounds, and it also constantly scans what's happening around you and respond and react accordingly to what your brain has learned through the course of your life. And so very often we get chipped by life, we get injured, we get harmed, we get disappointed, we are led to believe that we are not good enough, and this in turn becomes blocks and obstacles that prevent us from functioning at the best of our abilities. So when you work with me, you work with brain plasticity, we go see what your limitations are, what your boundaries are, and how to expand them so you can soar, and literally you become indomitable, undefeatable, because not many people out there know that they have this methodology to learn how to use their brain in a different manner to excel. And so today, after a week in a very highly motivated, driven Salesforce environment, I decided to shoot that video to remind all of you that if you are not at the level where you want to be in your life, if there are things that you wish to accomplish that you haven't already accomplished, remember that working with your brain is going to give you the best power that you can possibly reach for. It is more powerful to work at that level of the mind than enlisting hundreds of human bodies, human persons to help you achieve a goal, because you're basically tuning in with life force. The creation of life that creates planets and worlds and universes and springs life everywhere. That's what you're working with when you're working with your life energy. Remember, we are not our bodies. These are simply our vehicles, so we have to honor them and respect them and take very good care of them, because that's the most efficient and irreplaceable machine we'll have in the course of our lifetime. We are not our brain. Our brain is the operating software that allows us to function and operate within our body. We're not even our personality. Our personality comes from the word persona. The etymology, the linguistics of the word itself comes from the Greek and Latin, actually the Latin persona, which means mask, which comes from the Greco-Roman times, where actors used to hold masks when they were playing in plays in the amphitheatriums of ancient Greece. And therefore, our personality is a mask that we have, basically an act that we have fine-tuned and become identified with, but any facet of our personality can be changed. I have people coming to see me because they feel shy or introvert, or not expansive enough, or they have anger issues, which is a secondary emotion, by the way, that comes from fear or wound or harm or sadness, or they have jealousy issue, which comes back to actually a feeling of insecurity, of being feeling not good enough for whoever's out there. So all of that is changeable. All of that is fine-tunable when you learn to work with your brain. So that's what we do here in my practice. I work in my center in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. I work at a distance with Skype, with each and every one of you, or even over the phone with Face Live. All of these methodologies that allow us to work in person wherever you are in the world. And we take your situation as it is right now and teach you how to expand it to literally bend reality. That's quantum physics. When you shift the way you perceive yourself and the world around you, you're actually you're shifting the way that the world responds to you. And that's easy to do, and it's effortless. There is no willpower involved. Absolutely not. Willpower is actually what we use when we have a core mechanism that's not working for us. And usually that core mechanism, being subconscious, is going to be a lot more powerful than trying to change it with your willpower, which is the very tip of the iceberg. The willpower is part of the conscious mind. It's a very small part of the mind. The subconscious is the force that drives everything you do, everything you say, the way you act and react to the world around you. And in my practice with brain plasticity, brain rewiring, we work at the subconscious level of the mind. So willpower is no longer necessary. It just all happens effortlessly once we shifted the original results. So I don't know if you can tell from your end, I am absolutely drenched in the humid air of Mexico at the resort of Xcaret, absolutely magnificent resort, where a number of high producers have been gathering this week in order to revamp their motivation and bond and embark on a mission to make a better life for themselves. So thank you again for tuning in, everybody. I hope I'll be able to upload this video. We have a little bit of internet on and off fluctuation here in the tropical area of the world. And on these words, I'm going to go take a dive into the Caribbean Sea. So see you all next time. Thank you again for tuning in. My name is Genvièv. I'm a forensic and clinical hypnotherapist, a board-certified instructor, an emergency medicine first responder, and a researcher in brain plasticity and brain rewiring. Thank you again for tuning in, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Ciao, ciao.